Mataji, the meeting is live streaming.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, so we are in the chapter 16. So only 2 more chapters. So it is Daivashura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, the divine and demonic nature. So here it is Krishna is going to talk about divine and demonic natures, which he has done it even in chapter 9 and thing, but now we are going to talk more, he's going to elaborate what are the natures are. So let us pray a obeisance to Sri Radha Radha Govinda. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nanaka Shalakaya Chakshulvitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Satam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhane Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Deshata Paschat Deshatarine Mancha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, let us start this chapter. In fact, let us, okay, we start this chapter. So here, last chapter was on banyan tree, where through that Krishna was explaining about how the roots which are going down, and it is like a material world is a reflection of the spiritual world, and everything is perverted, and how Vedic scriptures, it is devotional service is the one which can lead us to break the bondage from the material world. So now he is explaining more about the divine qualities. Here about Devam Abhijastya, born of godly tendencies. So here 26 qualities he is describing, the divine qualities. The Supreme Personality of God said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godlism. So what he's talking here is, earlier in Vedic cultures, there was a distinct difference between the divine people and the demonic people. Actually, demonic people were full of demonic nature, so they used to keep themselves away from the divine people. But in Kali Yuga, what is the thing is, the nature is individual itself, both the tendencies are there, the divine and demonic. So we have to see about what these tendencies are. Okay. Here, when you say fearlessness, purification of one's existence, mostly it refers to people who have taken the sannyasis. Sannyasis are we said the Varnashram system, and there are 4 orders of ashramas. That is brahmacharya, ashram, grahastha ashram, then vanaprastha, then sannyasi. That is person first. In the beginning, when join the Gurukul, they'll be in the brahmacharya, and they might later take up to grahastha or go straight away become a sannyasi. But once they become a grahastha, then after about when they are 50 or 60 years, they will take up to vanaprastha. Okay, so and then from vanaprastha they will go take to sannyas. So this is how they elevate themselves in spiritual consciousness. Okay, so the fearlessness is mostly refers to the sannyasis group, because once they take up sannyasi, they are and they're fully completely under the shelter of the Lord. So they have no fear of their own, how they maintain or how they will travel, nothing. They're all depending on the Lord. Okay, so that fearlessness should be there in the sannyasis. And purifications, and what they do is the austerity pressures is to purify their existence and to cultivate spiritual knowledge. And also cultivation of spiritual knowledge is also pertains to brahmacharya group. Then comes the charity. Charity is mostly for the grahasthas, because the householders, they are mostly in their day-to-day life and their household work. So they are the ones who are maintaining the brahmacharis and sannyasis. So they have to give charity. And their at least in Vedic system, they used to say at least give 50% of it for the charity. And only then they will be able to understand the transcendental knowledge. In fact, the sannyasis go from house to house not to beg for food, actually. In fact, they go to give their blessings and the spiritual knowledge to the householders. So here, but Krishna says that people who don't give charity, their heart is actually hard. They are very, what do you call, they are so hard in this thing. They do not give, their heart is hard, and such people cannot take to Krishna consciousness. So charity is meant for householders. And its charity is in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance also there. We're going to see that in the next chapter. Damaha. Damaha is the charity, self-control. Is especially meant for the householders. They have to live not completely for self-gratification. They should be regulated lifestyle they have to lead. Gresta. So the self-control is, of course, their self-control is there for brahmacharya as well as sannyasis, and more to even householders. Then sacrifices, performance of sacrifices they have to do, especially meant for householders. Earlier in Vedic thing, they used to do a lot of yajnas, but in Kali Yuga, Sankirta yajna is the prescribed one. Then study of the Vedas and all goes for the brahmacharya. Austerity is mainly for the retired people. When they take up retired life, that is vanaprastha, they have to follow a lot of austerity measures so that they can purify themselves and elevate themselves in spiritual consciousness. Simplicity is for all the orders. It applies to all the 4 groups of people. Non-violence, and actually ahimsa is, some people say ahimsa is the one, since soul is not, we don't kill, soul cannot be killed. So they take to killing animals, because anyway the soul is not going to kill. So that kind of thing is not recommended. So we have to, ahimsa is something we have to follow. Truthfulness should not be, we should not distort truth for some personal interest. In Vedic literature, there are certain passages, which is very confusing, and you can misinterpret it or think, or you can, for your personal interest, you can give your own meaning and all that. So that should not be taken. You have to be truthful in the when you're representing the Vedic literatures and all that, right? Then comes modesty. Then, so we looked at first thing, averseness to fault finding. This is a very important thing for everyone. And the fault finding thing, it becomes a very bad habit. That aversion to fault finding in people, it actually will bring us down in spiritual consciousness. Compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination. This steady determination and vigor is mostly for the Kshatriyas. And forgiveness is a very tough thing to do, but it's a very thing to cultivate that nature. Then cleanliness and freedom from envy. Envy keeps coming every time, and we have to be freedom and freedom from passion for honor. In fact, this freedom from honor, no, the people, Prabhupada says, yeah, mostly the Sudras are there, and they get puffed up with they want to be, the prestige and honor and all that. So that is another thing which needs to be cultivated. So these are the qualities which divine people have. So that's what here Krishna is pointing it out. Okay. And mostly it is 26 qualities, and it is spread over to all the 4 ashrams. But then in the verse 6.4th verse, it says, Dambo Darpo Abhimanascha, Krodha Parshyam Evacha, Ajnanam Chavishchasya, Partha Sampadam Ashuri. That is arrogance, pride, anger, conceit, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demonic nature, O son of Pratha. So these demonic people, they don't follow the laws of nature. That is karma. They don't allow a laws of nature. No, it doesn't help spare anybody. Okay, and demonic people, they don't have faith in the Lord, nor they have any Vedic knowledge. They feel free to do anything they will do anything for self-gratification. So they are enamored by possession. So they are very arrogant, proud, and anger. No, they don't like anybody to point out faults in them. Their conceit, harshness is there, and ignorance. So these are the things which follow the thing. This is the royal role. They show, that mad elephant. Like that they behave. Daivi sampad vimokshaya, nibantan tashuri mata, masucha sampadam daivam abhijatu sav asi pandav. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. So do not worry, O son of Pandav, for you are born with divine qualities. So if you have these demonic qualities, then you are more and more bound in this material world. Okay, so that will. But whereas transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, for mukti from this material world. So son of Pandu, but he is assuring the Archana that you have born with divine qualities. It's only meant for the others. Okay. Then he continues to say, O son of Pritha, in this world, there are 2 kinds of created beings. One is called divine, another demonic. I have already explained to you at length divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demonic qualities. What are the things? This chapter is very simple also and very short. Pravrittam cha nivrittam cha janana vidur ashuraha na shaucham na pi cha charu na satyam teshu vidyate. So those who are demonic do not know what is to be done, what is not to be done, neither cleanliness nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. Okay, these are the kind of people. What is not to be done is as per the Vedic injunctions. They follow their own ways. They think what they are doing is right, but they don't have proper behavior, and they always take to cheating and everything, all kinds of bad habits they have. So, Ashatyam aprashitam te jagat hahur anishwaram aparaspara sambhotam kim anyat kamam naitukam. They say that this world is unreal, that there is no foundation and there is no God in control. It is produced of sex, desire, and has no cause other than lust. So sometimes some of these demonic nature people, they take up the role of a preacher. They mislead the people and say there is no God and there is no one in control and everything is scientific people also. They become known as religious reformer or incarnation. they'll make a show of yajna. So they're like proud atheists. They forcibly say that what they are saying is right, and they want to impose their preachings to on the people. And they make a show of yajna, performing sex, and they'll manufacture their own god. So God's mercy is, and so they are of this demonic nature. So that is what he says here. That means here what you have to observe is Krishna is covering all kinds of people, the nature of, what kind of people are there, conditions souls are there, and he's not only talking about the devotees, but even of the non-devotees, of the natures, and we do find such tendencies in all the people around us, isn't it? Following such conclusions, the demonic who are lost to themselves and have no intelligence engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. In fact, this is what is going on there between Russia and the Ukraine. So you see, they are bent on destroying themselves, by using all kind of weapons and things which they are making a disastrous thing there. How much time and how much effort are taken to build those cities and towns. Now they are all destroying it. They go to that extent, like, there's so much of demonic nature. So the demonic take shelter of insatiable lust, pride, and false prestige, and being illusion are always want to unclean work. Okay, attracted by the impermanent. So they think they believe that to gratify the senses unto the end of life is the prime necessity of human civilization. There is no end to their anxieties, and being bound by hundreds and thousands of desires by lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense. So they think that after this, there's no further life. They don't believe in transmigration. So they think that their life here is for sense gratification, and they will do anything for that. So they'll be anxiety. They'll be full of anxiety, of course, because they want to enjoy themselves. And so they have thousands of desires. They have got lust and anger, and they're greedy, and they will do anything, even go by illegal means for sense gratification. So they are unclean. So this is their attitude and their mentality. So the demonic person thinks, so much wealth I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I've killed him, and my other enemy will also be killed. I'm the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded like this. So we have 3 examples here. This is Hiranyakashipu. He has done a lot of austerities and got a lot of benedictions from Brahma, and he became very powerful. And for him, Hiranyakashipu was only after gold and women and thing, and he was so powerful by the benedictions he got from Brahma, that all the devatas were scared of him. They were always in fear. But only person who was not was his Prahlad. See the way he is treating his own child. When the Prahlad says that Vishnu is the creator and he is then in control. He couldn't hear the name of Vishnu on the mouth, right? Prahlad speaking. So he even throws him away from his lap, So that is very demonic. And here we see Kamsa ready to kill his sister. Just when she got married, and he gets the message from Akashvani that her 8th child will kill him. He gets so wild, he thought, let me kill her now itself so that I don't have to wait for the 8th child. Then here we see Ravana trying to kidnap Sita, as another man's wife. So they're all of the demonic nature, and they think that whatever they do, there's no one is there to stop them. And even if they're enemies, they will kill their enemies, and they'll become the powerful and happy and richest. And they will do a little sacrifice so that, they think by doing that, they will rejoice, no? And they'll get some punya and all that and counterbalance it. So these people are all deluded by ignorance. So they don't believe in the law of karma. So thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, one becomes too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and falls down into hell. So they are in that moha and the jala. So they are in that network of illusion. So because they are attached to their sense enjoyment. So and it is avidhi purvakam. No, it's not as per the nature. So bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demon becomes envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in his own body and in the bodies of others, and blasphemes against the religion. So they go to that extent of even defying the Lord. So they are so envious of him, of the power that the Lord has, and they will even blaspheme the religion also. So they will go to any extent because they are bewildered by the false ego they have got and the strength they have, and they are in the network of moha and jala, no? And so that. So those who are envious and mischievous and who are lowest among men are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. So this is what Krishna says, the result of being them having people, mischievous people, okay? And they're not hellish planets when they go, it is not meant as a punishment. Actually, it's like a reformation. They have to reform themselves. So that's why they are sent to the hellish planets. Then attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demonic life, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of nature. So if you are in this nature, then it is very difficult to approach the Lord. Okay. So he says there goes down, sink into most abundant thing, unless they may get the mercy of some mercy of pure devotees. Trividam naraka shedam dwaram nashanam atmanha kama krodha tatalam. See this repeatedly the word Krishna uses this all the time. Kama, krodha, and tata lobha. That is, kama is lust, krodha is anger, and lobha is greed. Tasmad eta trayam. So there are three gates leading to this hell. That is lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give this up, for they lead to the degradation of the life, so of the soul. So because it degrades to the soul, we need to, it won't help us in the spiritual progress. We need to avoid this, give up the lust, anger, greed. So this is the basic thing, which is the one which causes to fall down. So the man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, perform acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So if they escape these gates, then they will perform religious acts because they know what is right, what has to be done, what is their duty. And as per the regulations, Vedic injunctions, they will perform their acts, and that will be conducive to self-realization. That is in the path of they'll accept a spiritual master, they'll study the Vedas, they'll adopt a lot of austerity pressures, they have sense control, and then they get the spiritual knowledge, and slowly they will be able to go back to the Lord. So they will attain the supreme destination. So, Yash Shastra Vidyam Austriya Vartate Kama Partha Nasha Siddhim Avapnoti Na Shukam Na Param Gatim. That is, Gatim is destination. So, but he who discards spiritual injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor supreme destination. So, if they don't do that, if they want to live in their own way and they don't follow the scriptures, Vedic injunctions. And so they will never get perfection or happiness. So they will not even reach the supreme destination. So that is, they don't follow all these regulative principles. So why the principle? Because you are caught into this lust and thing, and they are not as per the Vedic injunction. So the games are not perfect. So then we will land up with threefold miseries because we are caught in the Maya. So that is why it will trouble us with the threefold miseries. Okay. So tasmat, therefore, Shastram pramanam te karya karya vyavastau natva shastra vidanoktam karma kartam herasi. So what we have to do? We should understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may be gradually applied. And also we should, that he can do it easily by getting a spiritual master. So regulated lifestyle can transform selfishness to selflessness, lust to love, quarrel to cooperation. So regulated lifestyle is very much important, simplicity and following the rules and regulations. So you will have a austere life. So what is the, now Krishna gives us a choice, whether we want to be divinic or demonic, or we can even assess ourselves what type of tendencies we have. So who performs acts for self-realization, they will follow the scriptures, they'll escape the gates of lust and anger, and they will attain liberation because they are on the path of self-realization. Whereas people who reject scriptures, they will act whimsically and be miserable, and they get degraded and they go down to the hellish planets. So these are the divine thing. But chapter 15 clearly says that Vedas have all the rules and regulations. So it becomes like a guidebook for us. So one cannot say we don't have a guidebook. It is there. Only thing we should take the trouble to read and to understand, and we need to go to a spiritual master. So they are the divine quality people, they're the demonic. So, and these nature, some part of it will be there in the individual, have both, and whichever is predominant, that takes place. So that's the thing. So willpower, determination, and activities in this life can make a difference. So this is what, once we get an understanding, gets this knowledge, then we can change our lifestyle. So what was a reflection today? It's a very short chapter and very, very simple two concepts, which he spent one full chapter on it, 24 verses. Vedic scriptures is important because it acts as a guide to us, and these are the divinic and demonic qualities. Yes, explicit. So we need to develop cultivate the divine qualities, and we have to be cautioned because there are three gates to hell, that is lust, anger, and the greed, and we have to follow the prescribed duties wherever we have. Okay, so Prabhupada's quote is nice. One's greatness has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. Normally, no one can understand our qualities unless when there is a trying period, unless we have some provoking situation, some troubles come, then only our true qualities come out, how we are and how we react to that suddenly. So he says our ability to tolerate things can be estimated. It's very true. And of course, I have asked yesterday also, enrolling for level 2. So with this, I'll close because it's a very short chapter. Vancha kalpataro abhyascha kripa sindhu eva cha patitam nam pavanevo vaishnavevo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.